Well, good morning.
Morning.
Super excited today. We've been looking forward to this. Stephen, Zhang, we are super happy to have you with us. And you have quite a story, and it'll be amazing to hear you tell it. And maybe to get us rolling, obviously we have Zach from iFinance Mortgage with us as well, John Rodriguez. And we are so curious. We know a little bit about you, but what we know, we love, and it's so exciting. But we want to know more, and those that are listening will want to know more as well. So, Stephen, tell us a little bit about your trek from China to the U.S. and kind of when all that started.
So I was born in Qingdao, China, which is the very east coast of China, and my house is surrounded 180 degrees by the ocean. So that's pretty much, I live on a peninsula. And I grew up on the beaches, and I went to a local public elementary school. And one of the bigger reasons why I moved to the US was, one, for education, of course, but two, the air pollution in China got a little out of hand, and I got pneumonia 3 times out of 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's when my mom was concerned, so we decided to move to the US, where, especially in Irvine, there's better climates. And so that's the reason why we moved to the U.S. in the first place.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2017. Summer 2017, so I moved here for 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
So start of 6th grade, and then have progressed through your schooling. Okay. That gives us a little time.
Yeah, and then I wasn't able to come back to China for about 6 years until last summer, which is in 2023. And that is mainly because of the student visa and also like transitioning to a green card. So different visa issues. If we leave the country, we can't come back. So for different reasons, I wasn't able to see my dad in China for 6 years. And I wasn't able to see my friends. And I think that has its benefits, as I can explain later. But basically, I was able to get used to the American culture. I was able to learn the English language really quickly.
Yeah,
Especially because there's no Chinese students in my middle school. So that really helps a lot. It forces me to speak English. It forces me to get used to being friends with foreigners, to me, the foreigners.
Right.
And getting acclimated to the American culture. And I think that is a blessing to me, a blessing in disguise. And that helped me overall.
Wow, what an amazing transition. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, Zach,
No, I can't either. Just coming from what my experience through school was, of just kind of the normal everyday American school experience, to hearing the situation that you had to go through and how well you did and how quickly you did it is just commendable. It's great.
It'd be like you and I picking up and say, oh, we're going to China tomorrow at this age, and we're just going to start all over, leave all of our friends, our family, for a dream or better health, better opportunity for education, whatever. I mean, that's incredible. So tell us a little bit. You've made it through grade school. You came through middle school, and there were some exciting things that started to happen for you. Tell us a little bit about your schooling and even into high school.
Transitioning into high school wasn't the most smooth for me because there's something called COVID that happened in 2020. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I heard it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I heard it ruined many people's lives, and my life was on par to be ruined by COVID until I realized how to fix myself, pretty much. So, going into COVID, I was a video game addict. I was slightly overweight, 180 pounds, but then through COVID,
I saw some pictures you showed. I was like, that is not you.
180 pounds, but then through COVID, I made it all the way up to 210. Wow. I made it past 200. That was a great milestone for me. And so deep into COVID, I didn't really know what to do with my life. I was at home playing some video games, streaming. I actually got some views on YouTube from that. And but really, I didn't know what direction my life was heading.
Little lost.
And because of that, I was actually rejected from every high school that I applied to. And my mom was worried that if I go to a public school, my grade would fall even further because there's less accountability being held in a public school. So we ended up betting my international director in my high school, JSerra Catholic High School. Shout out to Mr. Wu for letting me in. And so we ended up betting our way into my current high school. And my freshman year was a struggle too. I had all B's, except in orchestra, which is an all participation grade. So I knew something had to change. after looking at my grades, I was wondering to myself, if I want to go to college, is this what they want to see out of me? And I knew that wasn't something that is sustainable. So it all began sophomore year in chemistry honors. The first quarter I was struggling. I had 85%, but
I'd love to have 85%.
Yeah,
You're struggling.
I know, 85%.
No, I get you.
Yeah, for me, I aimed for always, even though that was like a hard thing to do. Chemistry honors, I didn't know what an atom was going into the class. And I had 85% the first quarter, and I was aiming for an A. So the second semester, the first test, I think I got a 98. So I knew there's a chance I could get an A. So, and I did. The second quarter, I got a 95. And the final, I got an 89, which was close enough to keep me at a 90.01%.
Wow.
And that is when I realized it's possible to get A's if you just study hard enough. Because I knew I wasn't putting enough work into classes to get A's. And I want to shout out to my friend Leon. He taught me how to have conversations with my teachers, because I was scared to talk to my teachers, especially freshman year coming back from COVID. And when I didn't know what topic in chemistry, instead of finding a tutor, instead of buying a course online, I'd just go to my teacher. They're the ones that's writing the test, and
Right.
they know the best how to help me, and they know what my needs are, because they know what questions I missed on the test. So I started talking to my chemistry teacher, and he's provided me with so many personable help that really helped me get my grades up. And that's when I realized I can use the free resources around me instead of having my mom pay for a tutor.
Sure.
And spend about $60-$70 an hour on the help that I can get for free. So that's when I started realizing that I can start utilizing the resources around me, the people, the teachers, online videos that are on YouTube, Khan Academy, organic chemistry tutor, and if anything, get a person on YouTube that teaches a topic and email them about a question that I may have.
Is that the YouTube Academy, right?
It's some different YouTube videos online, and that's when I realized I can really do anything I wanted if I tried hard enough to look around.
Wow, that's a powerful statement right
It really
there.
is. Yeah.
Someone that at your age has come, the light bulb went off and said, you know what, I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. So your transition from playing video games and being lost and not knowing what you're doing is now taking shape. It's taking shape as you move into your junior year and towards your senior. Tell us a little bit about some of the programs and things you got involved with to further your growth.
So in the summer of sophomore year, so after all the chemistry honors stuff, I applied to a summer program at UPenn, their business school, Warren Business School. And I applied to their Essentials of Entrepreneurship, which is a 2-week program, residential on campus. And in that program, I just learned the basics of entrepreneurship, but most importantly, I met some of the most accomplished people I've met in my life, and that kind of gave me a reality check. There's people, of course, I accomplished some decent grades at school, but so many people so much greater than me that are the same age as me. Like one person I knew in my group, I think he goes to Miami now, and he is a licensed pilot. He drives, and he owns a piloting business that he flies private jets to get people around the country. And that's something he started back in sophomore year, I believe.
And how old is he now?
He's a year older than me, so he's a freshman in college.
19-ish?
Probably 19 or early 20. I don't know.
Amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
That
crazy.
guy, he learned how to pilot a plane when he was in high school. And that's one person. And another person, I think she started her cookies company. It's like a creative cooking company, but then she had almost $200,000 in sales in 1 year. And that was just insane to me. It was mind-blowing to me. But basically, we did the entrepreneurship program. We learned the process of starting our own business. We learned how to brainstorm. We learned how to interview people for their ideas. We went around the Penn campus to interview other students about their ideas of our product. So for our product, we designed a fruit container. That is like a strainer, a container, and something that helps you dry the fruits in one. And we prototyped it using the creative lab on the UPenn campus, which they had the acrylics 3D printing.
Yeah.
They had laser cutting. They had all the cutting edge technology that you can have access to as a part of our program.
Incredible. I need that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a mind-opening experience for me because I didn't really get access to a lot of the resources on college campuses before, even though I hang out on the UCI campus every day. I didn't get access to their buildings, so that was an exciting experience for me. After that, I went to Yale's because of COVID. Of course, it was online. So I went to Yale's Young Global Scholars program where they had different tracks, and I went to the politics. I think politics, literature, and something else. It was something along that topics, and that's when I met some of the smartest people as well. This one guy, I think he's from Idaho. He just seems so knowledgeable about everything. We'd be talking about Brazilian culture, Japanese culture. I think we even talked about Plato, Aristotle, and then his argument on why souls exist.
Wow.
We talked about everything, and that guy seems to know every topic ever, and every time we were in discussion, he would go on like a 10 minutes rant about the topic, and we would just listen because we were genuinely speechless. That guy, he knew everything. And
Amazing.
so I went from like a business-minded program of all the creative thinkers to now the literature lovers, the readers, the people that love to read everything. And so I just experienced two different fields, and I got to listen from some of the best graduate students from the world. One of my teachers, I think she's a graduate student at Brown University. She went over a seminar about Toni Morrison's Beloved, about the slavery and the struggles of slaves back in the U.S. history. And I think she gave such an amazing insight. Especially, she even tied her family history into this, and she was genuinely passionate about the topic. So, and I just, that expanded my knowledge base so much. Even my research into religion and my interest into comparative religion and apologetics, that influenced a lot into my discovery of these topics. I didn't know these topics existed at all before coming to this program. So that was that summer, and
Wow.
yeah.
I think my hardest decision during my summer breaks was I'm going to go to the beach with my friends, or should I go to the mall?
Yeah, do I go to the movies or do I go to the beach?
Movies,
Yeah. No, but I think that's one thing I've noticed about you and getting to know you over these past couple of weeks is that you kind of embody what we heard in our meeting yesterday. If you want more, you need to work more.
Yeah.
And coming in and talking to you every day, we're learning something new about you that impresses us, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think you're keeping them in your back pocket as impressing,
No.
but it's just things that happen in your life, and you've led an impressive life since you've been here, and it's great. I can't wait to see what you continue to do on your foray into UCLA next summer. And this is gonna be great.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say, all these opportunities, these programs are expensive.
I can imagine.
If you're a regular citizen working in America, you can't. It's probably not worth it to attend these programs. However, one of the philosophies that my dad lived by is, if you invest money into education, however much money you want to invest in that, in human capital in education, especially if it's your own children, it's worth it. So now if I want to purchase like an online sales training course or even a data science bootcamp this kind of course that I found online recently, my dad, he said, you don't need to get my approval to spend the money to buy it. And he and his employees have been working hard for the past 7 years, so working to pay for my college tuition and working to pay for these expensive programs and just keep me educated. And that's something I definitely appreciate about my dad, even though he's not able to be here because of visa problems for the past 7 years.
He's going to see this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I want to say about the financing of these programs.
Oh, that's amazing. And, I think all of us look at our parents too. And, we have so many words of thankfulness to them. But more importantly, there's nothing worse than having tools and gifts and things presenting than having those things and not using them and taking advantage of them. And what we're hearing is that all these things that your family has provided for you, they've opened a door, you've walked right through it, and you've taken advantage of it so that you can get better. And for those other students and kids that are growing up, you need to make sure when doors are open, whether it's family or somebody else is providing that for you, go in, take full advantage. Don't be lazy, work hard. That's what we hear from you. So tell us a little bit more. You went to all these programs, you've come back now, you're in your junior year. What was the impact of those programs? And now you're in JSerra, and tell us a little bit more about that.
you remember how I talked about the mindset of if you want to achieve something and you work hard enough for it, I know I can achieve.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened junior year is another classes instead of chemistry honors. This year I skipped 2 levels in my English classes. I skipped from regular English all the way to AP English language my junior year. And you can't say it. I had a 65% 2 weeks into the school. And the second week into the school, the Friday is a drop deadline. And my counselor, even my teacher, they were like, oh, you should probably drop the class. It might be a little too hard for you. And I got 55 on my first writing assignment. And it was a huge challenge for me. But I told him, like, just give me 1 quarter, and then I'll show you.
This.
I'll show you why I'm not dropping this class. And after the first quarter, I had 89.5, and I knew I was able to secure an A. And I did. I think I got 93 the first quarter and 95 on the second semester.
Wow,
and
that's great.
And I'm getting a 5 on the AP exam, which is the highest score you can get on the AP exam. And there really wasn't much pressure on me. I knew I was able to accomplish it if I just worked hard enough, and I believe I did. My English teacher, Miss Duan, she wrote my letter of recommendations, and one of my favorite teachers from my school, I think she can testify. I used to annoy her so much in her office hours. Even today, this
Shut
year.
the door, he's coming again.
Oh yeah, I wasn't. This year I don't even have her as a teacher, and I would just go to her office and just hang out, just talk about life. And when I'm bored, like in the final 2 weeks of school, I would call in absent to my school. So I didn't want to go to the classes because we don't do anything anyways. It's the last 2 weeks. I would just call in absent, and I just go to her office and talk to her, and grade some assignments for her, and then talk about life in general. And I think her as a teacher, I think she helped me become a better person, as she's very knowledgeable about everything around her, and 2, solidified my take that if you want to do anything, if you work hard enough, you can achieve that. And I think that my performance in that class really just made me a stronger student, made me a more motivated person in general moving forward. That's the story of my junior year.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's incredible. Well, now you're moving forward. You're coming into your senior year. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, last year of high school. What good things happened then?
Oh, something I forgot, even before senior year of
Yeah.
high school, I think by Christmas of junior year, again, my dad was FaceTiming me on WeChat, and he was like, oh, you want to go to college? Why don't you accept this challenge from me? He said, I got this publisher online. You might as well, you write a book about yourself, and let's see how you do. And so I never backed down from a challenge. So I'm like, okay, I might as well write a book. And I was wondering what topic I want to write it on. And one topic I settled on is writing about my experience in the American education. Mostly because that's around the time when I got involved with the international communities in my high school. And I see their struggles. I see their academic struggles because of language barrier. 2, a lot of the academic struggle stems from their like they're scared to talk to teachers or interact with teachers, because in China the first 5 years of my education I've spent in China, and from what I heard and from what I've seen, the teachers in China they're scary. I mean, not scary in that sense, but they're scary to approach. It doesn't seem like they want to talk to you. Like you go to their office, they would rush, give you help in the assignments,
And get you out.
and get you out of there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perspective they have about American teachers. Well, that's number 2. Number 3, I think they're not prepared enough before coming to the U.S. Because if you read the introduction to my book, there's a part where I said, educational institutions in China that helps you do all the documents and get you prepared to come to the U.S. You pay decent money for that, few thousand dollars at least. And since you pay money for their service, they want as many customers as possible.
Sure.
So they tell you different stereotypes. I'm sure if you're Chinese and you're watching this, you probably know the stereotype that math classes in the U.S. is so much easier than China. And having been through 12 years of however many years, 6 years of math education, I can say it is not easier. I'm pretty sure the highest level of math that you go in China for the Gaokao is differential calculus, and that is pretty much Calc 1 in America. Although for me personally, I've only done a little further than that. I've done some integrals, but a lot of my friends in school, this one guy, he's taking multivariable linear algebra in senior year. That is the equivalent of like I don't know, that's probably what I'm going to take in college in my junior year. And so
it's incredible.
So yeah, I mean, math classes here is not easier, and the people taking multivariable linear algebra, yes, they're smart. They're also struggling in the class because of how hard the topics are and how advanced you can get in high school. So that is one thing that educational institutions tell you. Math in general is easier. Two, they're going to tell you it's easier to be successful in the U.S. And I just don't think that's true. I mean, just looking at all my peers,
interesting.
It's of course you have more freedom to open your business and you have less regulations, of course, by the government policy. But I just think you have to put in equal amount of work if you want to be successful in the U.S. as in China. You don't just get a shortcut just because you're in the U.S. I think that statement is not accurate, and
still have to work hard.
You still have to work hard.
Yeah.
That's why I see a lot of international students here. When they move to the U.S., they stop working as hard because they think I get a fast path to success just because my family got me to the U.S. And three, I mean, I think because a lot of the international students here, they live by a foster family, and their parents are not able to come to the U.S. with them, they lose accountability. They don't have family, and sometimes they don't have friends to push them forward. They don't have them to make them accountable of, keeping their grades high, or stop going out and partying all night, maybe doing something productive.
Yeah.
So that's something I knew if I didn't have my mom around as a blessing, that's something I probably would have done either. So I see these problems with international students, and I just decided to address them in a book. And especially my target audience is for international students around the world, maybe especially in China because I'm biased because I came from there and I'm pretty experienced. But my idea is that I want them to read the book and see, this is my experience studying the U.S.
Speaking of the book, it's right here. It's signed. Thank you very much from its author. Published author right here. I can't wait to read all the way through.
Yeah, so I want the parents and students to read my experience in the U.S., the challenges I've been through, culture shock, language barrier, and the different challenges I've faced academically, and the amount of work I've put in just to compete with the local students. I want them to read it and see if this is a challenge that they're up to. So I don't want international students to come to the U.S. ill-prepared.
Right.
They use their parents' money, and they sometimes get a worse result as if they just stayed in their home country and had a more stable family, stable income, and probably would have worked out better for them. And so I just want the students to know what they should expect going in. Also, just to show them some opportunities that are available to them when they come to the U.S. So me, I didn't know a lot of the opportunities. I didn't know you were supposed to volunteer. I didn't know you can volunteer. Even my stubborn self in 8th grade was like, I don't get paid. Why do I need to do labor?
Why am I doing it?
Why am I cutting grass in Bolsa Chica National Park? Like why do I do all this? And then why do I have to put in the work to help other students? And I didn't see the purpose, and I didn't know any opportunities that I would have.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my high school experience, the volunteerism was the thing that really kind of got me to see different perspectives.
Definitely.
In my freshman year, I did a couple little things helping out with like maybe the local Boy Scout troop at an event or something, just to get a couple hours so I could have my 40 for graduation. And then my sophomore year, I started and I volunteered at St. Joseph's Hospital and did that through the end of my senior year. Ended up racking up almost like 1,000 hours at St. Joseph's Hospital, and that one experience was enough to change my perspective on helping people and like giving myself to help, not just to make money and not just for that experience. But no, I mean, volunteering is super important, and I can see in the talks that we've had together all the ways that you get out into your community and do outreach like that, and it'll just continue to pay dividends for you.
Yeah, speaking of volunteering, I want to thank my mentor from 8th grade, Dr. Chen. He's a PhD at Berkeley, and he actually does college counseling services. So he's been helping me with my college stuff, but then he's my good friend since 8th grade, and he got me on the right path, in my opinion. So speaking of volunteering, he actually made a list for me about the amount of, like a list of volunteering opportunities around the Orange County area, and well, mainly because I wanted to fulfill my 80 hour, I forgot what it was, but it's whatever hour I needed to graduate, and so I just did any, meeny, miny, mo, and I thought, this one. OC Park it is. So I just went there, and then it was during the height of COVID, and I was so introverted that the first time I volunteered there, I didn't talk to any of the other volunteers. I just wore a mask and I just worked by myself. I think it was the first time I volunteered. It was in Upper Newport Bay.
Oh yeah.
And what we usually do is we water the native plants that we plant, and then usually we plant the native plants because one, it was threatened to be ran over by the Irvine company back then, and because they was trying to build the buildings in one of the 2 remaining estuaries in California.
Whoa,
And
I didn't realize that.
so such a great habitat, and all the native plants, if they were gone, the native birds wouldn't, especially the California gnatcatcher, it wouldn't have any places to nest, so therefore it would probably go extinct as it is already endangered. And so we're planting native plants, hoping to restore the habitats as what it was probably 50, 60 years ago. And what we also do is what else do we do? We educate the public about the plants and the raising awareness about native plants restoration. And I also, as a volunteer, I also take the visitors to a tour in the nature center.
Yeah.
The nature center is very interesting. They have the fossils of different animals, even living millions of years back then. They have the fossils found in this land, and I just thought, what a tragedy if the land was just gone. And I think volunteering here at OC Parks, it gained me a lot of interpersonal skills that I needed to have, because I was forced to interact with the volunteers, and also it just just gave me the awareness of what environmental protection is like. Like one of my favorite presidential candidates, RFK Jr., like he's an environmental attorney, and then myself, the summer of my sophomore year, I conducted a research with my mentor, Catherine Dr. Wadner. She guided me through like a legal case study on environmental justice, which is the mixture between the environmental movement as we know it, like environmental protection, also the civil rights movement. Basically, what the movement was about is that the nuclear and all the waste dumps are built near poor and minority communities in North Carolina, which is one of the most impoverished states in America. And so I did a legal case study on how one of the organizations, Citizens Against Nuclear Trash, which is also called CANT, C-A-N-T. They're a grassroots forum. So there's poor citizens formed up together. They're fighting the Louisiana Energy Services in the legal lawsuit, and the Louisiana Energy Services were backed up by the federal government, and they ended up defeating the Louisiana Energy Services. So I thought case was incredible.
Yeah.
And how that shows if you put in the work, anything is possible. They're a group of poor minority citizens. They were able to be a federal government backed agency because in the end, justice tops the greediness of the government at the time that was placing the dumps in these minority communities.
That's amazing.
I think through volunteering, I've gained exposed. I was gotten exposed to so many more topics, and yeah, I just learned a lot from
your
volunteering.
personal growth, everything, and now you're the way that I got associated through JSerra was through the Business Magnet program there, and I was asked to come and speak there a couple years ago. And I was just amazed at the high level quality students that were part of this program. Can you tell us a little bit about that program, your role, and how that's helped you grow too?
Yeah, definitely. So the programs, my mom and I's first impression of the program was in an open house when we were in 8th grade, and when we met the ex-director of the program when I was at JSerra, it's Miss Ann Birdman. And she looked like the definition, model, and professionality of a businesswoman. And I think to have someone like that have experience, one, in teaching, she taught Algebra 1 in Merced before, and two, she was a very experienced realtor. Yeah. And she is experienced and has a thorough understanding in most of the areas in business. And I just think to have someone like that, experienced in business, teach us students introduce us to the business world, was such a blessing to have, because I know from all the schools, most of the schools around me in this area, in the country at least, not many high schools have business education. No. Especially our program is accredited through the local community college, Saddleback College, and we get college credits from our classes too, so we can skip out of those classes in college and save us some money too. So that program, I think, is such a great program, and you get exposure to some of the great teachers and the students there too. Most of them are very, very goal oriented. They know what they want to do, and if they don't want to do business, at least they know different fields of business. Like they know finance, they know some accounting, they know sales, they know marketing. They know, okay, this might not be the thing for me. So they know how to pivot careers early instead of doing it way too late in college. So I think that is a great opportunity for me, and I've learned that accounting. I don't like accounting, but I've learned that if I don't do anything in business, I probably have to study accounting anyways.
Yeah.
But I just know I don't want to be a full-time accountant.
Right.
It doesn't matter how well it pays. I'm done with the teachers, man.
You're like, I don't want that anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's just exposing you to different areas of business, even though even if it doesn't go that deep into each area.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're in high school anyways, and I think going deep, that's the part for college. That's saved for college or internships. But I think getting exposed to different areas of business, that's a great way to help high school students to just kind of form a goal in their head. At least they know what they don't want to do.
Right.
That's a great part.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's so true. And you know, I got to give a shout out to Ann Bergman as well. Great person. That's who I met, and also we've done some collaborative things together in real estate as well. And you know, Stephen, as the vice president that you served there, they teach you, from what I observed, they teach you various roles in business. And like you said, some of the ones that, ooh, that looks interesting, maybe I'll pursue that. Or, no, I have no interest in that, at least right now. You never know, maybe later in life, okay. But that program, to me, you can't find those types of programs hardly anywhere. And the fact that you can tell when a student like yourself has come out of that program, you're different. You are a cut above the other students. They're great people, but business people are being produced, and we can see that in you. Zach and I are
Absolutely.
Thoroughly impressed. Our whole company here at iFinance Mortgage is very, very impressed with you.
Well, I mean, and just the fact that you went for a program like that. I mean, they had certain offerings like that at the high school I went to. Not anything on that level, but just the fact that you committed enough to it, not only to join the group, but to work enough and hard enough to become the vice president, shows a lot about you as a person and your responsibility and how much you care for those type of things. And it's great. I like John said, we're just continually impressed by all the things you do, and then learning more about you in the interview today has been awesome. So thanks for joining us on our team.
For sure. You know what's interesting to me is you don't just stop there. You just graduated from JSerra. What's next?
Okay, what's next? I am attending UCLA next year for
Congrats.
my major of business economics, and just I wanted to learn like a more tangible skill alongside with business, just in case if business doesn't work out. I'm considering either a double major in cognitive science or statistics data science. So it's either one of those two. I don't really know yet, or if I want to pursue a double at all. It depends on my course load. So that's what's next for me academically, but professionally, I am here interning at John's company. Actually, Miss Ann Bergman referred me here.
Yeah. I remember when I got that call. I'm
yeah.
Yes and yes.
I'm glad she referred me here. Another place I was considering was a law firm, but I think this place is amazing. I'm not here to do busy work like the stereotypical unpaid internship. I'm here to learn. And these guys, Zach and John, have been walking me thoroughly through the mortgage lending process and just guiding me through like they respect me even though I'm just a high school student who recently graduated. And I'm glad that I don't have to do any of the busy paperwork or busy works at other offices. Instead, I'm here for like the actual learning experience, and I am being paid well by experience. And I would say this is definitely worth my time. And I recently just signed up for my mortgage originator license course online, and I am going to be pursuing the Mortgage California state license hopefully really soon.
That's so
awesome.
exciting. And when we look at that, Zach and I were talking about this the other day, and I know we talked about it too, is what high school, let alone moving now into college, are licensed individuals. There are very, very few. I'm sure there's a few out there, but to find a licensed 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old person that has a state license for mortgage, for real estate, which is going to be around forever. It's unheard of. And so for you, as you pursue that now, and I understand you just started your courses, they started yesterday, it's so exciting, 20 hours of online, and then there's a background test, fingerprinting, a state test, and your final getting sponsored by the company. But you know what that tells an employer, a potential employer, no matter where you decide to go in the future? They look at your resume and they see that you have a state license. What that tells them is this person's already passed a background check successfully, and they're capable of passing a state test, which are not easy. And so anywhere you go now, that having been on your resume is huge for you. Not to mention, you have the opportunity to help family after family after family get their dream of home ownership.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just another piece of value that you can add that others can't. I mean, I know a lot of my friends, even, you know, the ones who are very professional and business minded. I didn't know anyone with this license who was around my age, even growing up. And now to this time, I've only had a few friends that have worked in the residential, the real estate, and the mortgage spaces. And to see someone as young as yourself commit to something as you know, hard as this is, because it's not an easy test. It's not an easy course. And the topics here are all, you know, very involved, and you have to really put your head down and learn them. And I know when I started here a couple of years ago, it was kind of the same thing. You know, I knew two words, like I told you in my interview, John, interest rate, you know. I knew two words of the mortgage business were interest rate. And like, you know, I can see that you're like willing and ready to learn, which is the same state I was in a couple of years ago. So I'm just really excited to see someone as young as yourself in that same state of mind, ready to go and just take it on head first. So
yeah, it's going to be exciting for you. And you know what, getting back to your book here, the American High School Study Experience, this is fantastic. And I scanned back towards the back. I saw some other highlights of your life. You mentioned a little bit about you being a spiritual person as well. I can see that there's pictures of your baptism in here, which is truly exciting. Looks like you're out on the golf course as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's another passion of yours. Looks like maybe even student model. I mean, you're modeling here, you know. It's pretty good. You got a career in that. But I think what caught my attention is that you like to capture the moment. And one way to do that is through photography. And I know that's important to you as well in here. So it's what that highlighted to me is sometimes we're too busy in life to take a moment and document the things that we're doing. You took several moments and documented your history up to date. What I'm excited to see is what your next book produces. After you've gone through UCLA and now you're out maybe starting your own business, or you have your own mortgage company, or you have your own mortgage team, whatever you choose to do, the next chapters or part twos of your book are going to be very exciting. That's something I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy to be a small part of one of those chapters here for you, you know, just looking to see where you go.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a final question for you, Stephen, is, you know, after getting to know you, getting to see what you've accomplished, where your mindset is. You have a mindset of a champion, one that there's nothing that can stop you. You put your mind to it, you have opportunities, you accept them, you walk through the door, you will succeed. You have that mindset. Now, there's thousands, if not millions of other kids out there that are coming up, and they might be sitting there playing video games right now too, being lost, don't know where to go, where to turn. What advice would you have for them to be successful and, you know, turn out like you?
I think one of my main suggestions for incoming high school students or kids of any age is just to find out who you are. Because I think knowing who you are, knowing your values, knowing what you truly care about, instead of researching online and say this is a top 15 list things that you should do to get into a better college. No, don't do that. You can use it as a reference, but you need to find out who you really are and what you actually care about. Don't do something that your parents force you to do. Of course, you gotta follow them, but you don't want to do things that, let's say your parents say, you gotta go volunteer 1,000 hours in this warehouse in order to get into college. But you say, but mom, I care about the environment more, so maybe I should use that time better in studying about the environment, environmental protection, or environment, like volunteering in the environment field, talking to the park ranger, learning more with him. And you gotta find out what you really care about and surround yourself with the right people. I think surrounding yourself with the very smart people is gonna motivate you to keep pushing yourself to be better. Like my junior year summer, when I went to another program in Wharton, there's one group of guys. I think one is heading up to Harvard College, the other one's heading up to Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. They have a few patents on like the algae powered battery that they run, and they started businesses. They won like a giant cash prize from the American Chemistry Society for their innovation, and these were the people that I had to sit in the same room with, and even after all my accomplishments, I'm wondering what have I done with my life, even though I think I've done more than enough. But these are the people that makes me wonder, like, what more can I do? And just surround yourself with the right people, and even though you might think I've exceeded my expectations, or I've even exceeded my parents' expectations, mm-hmm. you can always go further just with the right group of people. And finally, in terms of school, please be friends with their teachers. They want to be friends with you, and they're not there to scare you. They don't want you to fail you, because some schools they pay the teachers based on the grade distribution. The last thing they want is to fail everyone. And just know your teachers want the best for you, and they can't really help you if you don't open yourself to help. So that's my suggestions. Just build relationships with the teachers. They're humans too, and take advantage of the free resources online. And remember, any money that you spend on education is probably worth it.
That's so well said, Stephen. And you know what? Had the pleasure of meeting your mom the other day. I mm-hmm. hope we get the pleasure of meeting your dad in time here too. Mm-hmm. But we can see you come from good stock, good roots with your family. And again, Zach and I, on behalf of the whole company of iFinance Mortgage and those that have already met you, we are thrilled to have you in our company.
Absolutely.
And we're thrilled to follow your journey with you to UCLA. And the words that you've spoken today, we hope resonate with all that will be listening. And soon, we hope that this book will be available to the general public.
Yeah.
More so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. But in the meantime, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. And we couldn't be more proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me here.
Thank
you. You bet.